become a middle-income country, Ethiopia pursues agricultural-led development policy, which has been the main force behind the economic growth over the years. Agricultural productivity is rising and rural life is changing for the better. However, there is one critical problem that has been prevailing in this part of the country. The farmers do not have access to any financial services, such as savings, credit, insurance, or money transfer.
ባንክ ምን እንደሆነ አላውቅም።
ከዚህ በፊት ባንክ ተጠቅሜ አላውቅም።
ትንሽ ገንዘብ ስትኖረኝ አምጥቼ ግሬራ ውስጥ አስገባታለሁ።
ባንክ የምናጠማቅም ያው በሬ በመግዛት ፍየል በመግዛት በግ በመግዛት ያው በቸገረን ጊዜ ደግሞ ብር በምንፈልግ ጊዜ ያንን ሽጠን ደግሞ በግዛት ብሩን መፈለግ ልብስ ምናምን በመገዛ ጊዜ 380
But using these traditional methods of saving is not always safe.
ያማ እንግዲህ ገጥመናል። ያው ቆጠብን የምንለው ይሞታል ከስራለን ደግሞ ዙረን ለፍተን ደግሞ እናቋቁማለን።
Saving is not the only foregone benefit for the farmers due to the absence of banking services in their locality. They also do not get credit to start or grow farm businesses, as well as transfer money to and from their relatives. Although there are some efforts being made by the government and private parties to create access to banking and credit services and increase outreach to rural areas through microfinance institutions and rural credit and saving cooperatives across the country, there is still a long way to go to fill the gap.
The number of people in the country divided by the branches, it's like 60 to 70,000 people per branch. How many people can a branch serve? 10,000, 5,000. So you have extra people who just don't have the access to it.
Even many farmers do not have access to the rural credit and saving cooperatives. These institutions need to solve the technological constraints in order to deliver efficient services to rural farmers. The lack of awareness of farmers on financial services due to low literacy and lack of trust on the MFIs has also hindered the expansion of this service to the rural areas. The problem of low financial service is not confined to the rural areas. In the urban areas of Ethiopia, although the banking industry is flourishing through time, the outreach to clients of ordinary people is still limited.
We are a bit always conservative. Culturally also. We are
from the demand side.
From the demand side or even from policy side.
Among others, inefficient service provision and poor use of banking technology, coupled with low awareness of people, have hindered the development of this service.
The employees of the banks, if they are professionals and they think that this is mine, these are the ones who would go and make it happen. I think more than opening branches or going to the rural areas for the MFIs, I think the employees that are the most important.
Delivery effective service.
Precisely. If they believe that this are making a difference, it's important for poverty reduction, and I really want this poverty to be reduced.
The banking and MFIs are not oriented to attracting the ordinary people because of high cost and low revenue. The financial inclusion in Ethiopia has remained lower as compared to other developing countries. Studies show that 8 out of 10 Ethiopians are excluded from the financial system.
I want to save. There are people who want to save this country. This is not I don't have to change their culture. People want to save. The problem is they don't have access, they don't have the means. So what is the bank should expand.
The current savings rate over the national gross domestic product stands at 5.5%, while the country plans to raise this digit to 15% at the end of the Growth and Transformation Plan execution period by 2015. The lack of access to financial services has a macroeconomic impact on the country's development. In simple terms, if money is kept out of the financial system due to poor saving culture and not circulating in the market in the form of credits, so it can never contribute to the economic growth. Its macro impacts are enormous.
From the economics point of view, money outside the banks is just wastage. Wasted money. Not because it's lost or anything, but because it did not create opportunities that it could create by sending it to the bank. So that's why we say we need saving. We need saving. Why do we need it? It's not because we want people to squeeze all the money from them. It's simply because if we don't do that, then there is no investment. If there is no investment, there is no growth.
In many countries of the world, ICT innovations such as agent and mobile banking have offered financial services to remote and urban areas where conventional banks have been physically absent, or in urban areas where conventional banks have been selective in their clients.
So the opportunities of connecting every Indian to an electronic payment system are very large and very varied, not to mention all the benefits for government, of course, in terms of distribution of electronic benefits, the reduction of corruption that entails. So the opportunity is huge.
This method has been effective to empowering rural communities and other ordinary people in countries like Rwanda, South Africa, Mexico, and others.
You've got people who have access to money to do basic things, then they become economic engines in their own right.
In these countries, alternative delivery channels, such as mobile phones, are becoming effective channels for executing banking service to the rural community with much lower cost of financial transactions. Despite the existing challenges of accessing financial services in Ethiopia, there are pilot projects aimed at improving the status of inclusion in the financial system. Only few pilot projects were implemented so far to introduce modern financial transactions and provide financial services to the rural communities. By scaling up such best practices all over the country, it is possible to increase the access to modern financial services and thereby contribute to the national economic development. Creating a wide range of financial services is not only about benefiting the rural community, but also a matter of the development agenda.
Think of it. There are 80 million people in Ethiopia. If each one saves 1 birr per day, you have 80 million birr. If you give an investor 80 million birr, he will invest and you will have a factory, at least a big factory, a good factory. And this factory will be able to make profit, pay back its debt, pay the interest that I'm going to pay as small investor, as a small saver, and employs people, and therefore growth is there. So essentially, every day we can build one factory.
Without promoting saving culture and introduce an effective system of financial service, the country cannot easily realize its growth and transformation plan. Therefore, Ethiopia's ambitious development plan should be backed by strong and modern financial services that can mobilize the resource of its huge population. This can only be done if the stakeholders respond to the ever-growing demand of both the rural and urban communities by introducing a range of innovative bank technologies and financial services. Then, their ambition of prosperity becomes a reality.